We are live. This is Travis from Carter Cow Capital Trade with Travis and the Expert Advisor Reviews on YouTube. Hope everybody's doing well on this Wednesday morning. I have June 14th, 8:29. Let's go ahead and get through the disclaimer. Then after that, we'll go ahead and start talking. Not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from the education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. And understand that trading involves risks and involves risks of being able to make money, also involves risks of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So with that being said, as we go through and get everything else situated. Good morning to each and every one of y'all. My name is Travis. If you're not familiar with who I am, I've been trading for the last, about to be 7 years professionally. Where we end up taking a look at the markets, we end up doing forex, we end up doing cryptocurrency, we end up doing a little bit of stocks, end up taking a look at what's going on with the market. Obviously, do it from an educational basis, and obviously to be able to make money as well. If you are looking at this live, thanks for being able to pop in. I do really appreciate it. Please let me know if my sound is good. And as we go through, we're going to talk about the trade that we ended up taking yesterday, which was US 30. Got in, got out, quick 3 hours worth of work. And then after that, obviously looking at being able to see what's happening with FOMC today. We got interest rate decisions that's going to end up happening today at 2 o'clock. Which is going to end up really affecting the market because this is the day that we're going to end up seeing what it's going to be for the first year, second year, and what it's going to end up being projected to for the rest of this year, obviously moving forward. So once again, just let me know if my sound is good, and then after that, we're going to go ahead and get started and go from there. So if we take a look at from the economic calendar, we end up seeing obviously today's a trader's day in general, but it's a very big day for the United States. Obviously, we end up having an interest rate decision that's coming out, which means that Jerome Powell is going to end up speaking. Anytime that Jerome Powell speaks in the market, it's going to end up moving. So please keep that in mind. And then after that, we got interest rate projections that's going to end up happening for the rest of the year. For the rest of the day. And then after that, we have GDP that's going to end up happening for the New Zealand dollar. And then after that, moving into tomorrow, we're going to end up having unemployment change for the Australian dollar and initial jobless claims and monetary policy statements for the Eurozone and the United States, respectively. So as we go through and take a look at this, we're going to start off with the trade that we ended up taking yesterday. It was US 30. US 30, we ended up taking it based off of the counter trend line break of this overall movement with the expectation that the market from a long-term perspective could get up to 34,400. And from a short-term perspective, if you end up taking that short-term trade, you end up making your money within, I think, that same hour or right after the hour where we're looking at being able to get out right around 34,180. So if you end up taking that trade yesterday, congratulations. There it is right there. But let's talk about what made us get into the trade and where we at right now. And if you are still in the trade, what should you do? So we go back off of this, and I'm kind of zooming down just to kind of get through this. Market's been inside of this large consolidation since the beginning of the year. 34,400 has been a resistance. The support has been 32,005, I think, of 570 somewhere around there. And what has been happening is since the market ended up hitting the support back in May, the market has been popping up towards this overall spot and being able to move up towards the highs. Now, if we look at this, we can see that this blue triangle right here, which was the largest consolidation in the largest time where the market was inside of an overall area. It was right at 34,255 to 33,500. The market finally ended up pushing up towards that area. Now it's pushing up towards the outer resistance area of this movement. And based off of that, the reason why we end up taking the trade, if we take a look at it from a 2 hour perspective, we had a counter trend line break. We had a little bit of a pop up, and we was in an area of low volume. Remember, anytime that you're in an area of low volume, what you're going to end up seeing is that you're going to end up getting unfair market prices, which means that you should get a lot of faster movement for us being able to get in. End up taking that counter trend line break for us, the overall trade. If we do it based off of the hourly, we end up getting in right when the market ended up breaking that counter trend line break, getting in right around the 34,130. Thought process was two different positions: get out at 34,180, be able to get a 50 to 80 point scalp off of that move, and long term being able to catch it at 34,400. Now, because today is FOMC day, I don't think that this market is going to continue to popping up and finish this overall move. at least not until 2 o'clock. So if you are in this move currently right now, you're still up, depending on where you end up getting in, you're still up a little bit based off of the original position for us being able to get in. I end up getting out based off of this movement when I seen that the wick started to be able to push down and started to be able to get out. I think I ended up getting out at 34,270, somewhere around there. Um, and so it was a 100-point move, but at this particular point right now, we're looking like we're starting to make a little bit of a U-turn. The market may start to be able to fall down first, get back down to right around 33,900 or 34, or basically 3,400 before being able to make a move, and then ultimately kind of being able to make its direction from there. I don't know if we're going based off, we got to take a look at the United States dollar index first. But for some reason, it doesn't seem like the market should be at this particular point. I think that we're probably going to end up seeing this market start to fall a little bit and start to retrace a little bit overall. Um, the market has gotten up to 34,400 and has pushed, but hasn't been able to break out of this area. And I don't think that this is the reason why. I don't think this will be a catalyst why the market will break out of this area. But if it does, what I would end up suggesting is this: make sure that you end up having a pending order at 34,400 for as a buy. If the market does decide to be able to break out of that area, take profits on that one. End up being at 35,420. The reason why 35,420 is that number is you take a look at the daily, that is the next area, the next gap where, or the next resistance where the market end up having a large struggle to be able to break out of. So we're going back to positions where we were back in 2021 if it does break those highs. So just please keep that in mind. Interest rates are going to end up being important. I'm not interested in being able to make a trade until we end up getting the news a little bit later on today. That's why I end up saying that yesterday was a get in, get out day for its overall movement. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening with the United States dollar index. And while I'm doing that, if you have any pairs that you would like to be able to talk about, please place them inside of the chat as we go through and get everything else situated. So, United States dollar index um, broke out or got to the resistance or got to that consolidation spot at 12,900 or 12,990. Then from there, once it ended up breaking out, it started to retrace. It retraced back to, um, it ended up retracing back to this last consolidation block, and currently right now it's starting to push back inside. So remember, if the market ends up breaking the support, it will fall down to another support. I do expect that this market is going to continue to fall down to 12,740 before ultimately being able to make a decision from there. Any other movement at this particular point, I do believe that it's going to end up being bearish. Now, keep this in mind. If it is going to end up being bearish on the United States dollar index, that is giving us a good sign that US 30 should continue to keep on moving toward the upside, if that's going to end up being the case. So, as long as the United States dollar index falls, then we're going to end up seeing that US 30, NAS 100, and everything else like that should start to be able to pick back up. But the daily is in the buy zone. We look at it from a consolidation standpoint. It's in the middle of the consolidation. That's a 33% chance of being able to win. I'm not interested in being able to make a trade until the market ends up breaking out of 12,990 or breaking below 12,740 at this particular point moving forward. Typing a Y, yes, if that makes sense, but that is my thought process on that. Not making a move off of US dollar pairs until we end up breaking past those ranges. Take a look at oil. Oil haven't been making any trades. The market is still in between 82.50 and 62.70. The market currently right now is at $70 per barrel. It has started to be able to show signs of creating a minor support right here in this area. But we don't have a true resistance, and I'm just going to call this in the middle of being in consolidation. I don't like what I see for what's that. So, oil still not making a move off of it, not doing anything with that. Gold, let's take a look at that real quick. Um, Gold, we end up talking about the consolidation basically being built out in between 19,040 or 1940 and 1985. Currently, right now, market ended up touching 1940 yesterday, if I remember correctly. Bounced right off of it and then started to push back up. We talked about strategy 4 being the opportunity of being able to get in, meaning that when the market end up hitting support, start to look at buying at 1940 and then being able to push back up, with the take profit being the halfway point at 1970 or 1965, depending on how you end up wanting to play it. But currently, right now, all of these markets right now are in a consolidation block where they're basically in a no trade area for me. meaning that, yeah, there could be personal opportunities to be able to get in, but it's not the best ones to be able to get in from a trading perspective, unless you're a person who likes to be able to trade inside of compound ranges, like grid style traders or anything else like that. This may be great for you. For me personally, right now, I'm not interested in being able to make that trade. If you would have took the trade in 1940 yesterday, then yes, that would have been a great idea. But currently, right now, we're not there yet. Okay, so um, gold still waiting on this overall move. Keep this in mind. We talked about US 30 trying to be able to look for expecting that the market could pop up and being able to hit the resistance. Um, a few things have to be able to happen. United States dollar index has to keep on falling for US 30 to keep on moving up. If that keeps on happening, that means that the United States dollar is going to end up getting weak. If the United States dollar ends up getting weak, then gold is going to end up popping up with it. Okay, so there goes your correlations between all three of those pairs that we've already taken a look at, or four of those pairs that we ended up taking a look at already. Okay, moving forward from there, taking a look at gold, take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin hasn't been moving as much today. I think that it's going to end up having a big pop today overall. Take a look at it from a daily perspective. Um, Bitcoin now is at a range where the resistance is at 30,000. The support is really being tested right around that 25, 26,000 number. Um, it broke out to the downside, retested for a little bit, retested again right here. My expectations is that this market is going to end up falling ultimately. I think that it will go right around 24,900. If it does hit that level and does break that, remember, if it breaks the support, it's going to fall down to another support. Possibly could go all the way down to 21,500 if that may end up being the case. Um, but there's a lot of stuff that has to go on in the next few hours, well, especially after 2 o'clock once the news ends up coming out that may end up affecting what's happening with this overall market in general. Okay. But remember, if the United States dollar ends up showing a weak sign, then Bitcoin is probably going to end up being the beneficiary of this, and this market may end up popping up. I don't have a decided move off of this one yet. I'm just going to keep my eyes out on it. But we will be interested in being able to trade it if there is a position to be able to jump in moving forward. So took a look at that. Took a look at US 30. Let's take a look at Nas 100 real quick. Once again, if you are watching live and you do have a pair that you would like to be able to take a look at, place it inside of the chat box. We'll go ahead and go through it, do quick analysis off of it, and then after that, help you out with the decision. And if we can be able to trade off of it, then I'd like to be able to make money with you, obviously. So what's happening with Nas 100? Let's take a look at it from an Ikimoku Cloud standpoint right now. Market is truly bullish. It's outside of this overall zone. We can see that the market is overwhelmingly bullish moving forward, but it's at the top of a um, we end up breaking past the hardest part of this movement when the market was at 14,127. Currently, the market is moving into low volume, and if it keeps on moving up past the 14,930 level, then after that, we're really going to start to see a lot of low volume and going and starting to be able to push back up to these highs that the market ended up having up here in this area, right around 16,500, 16,520. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen today, but as we take a look at this movement, this market is getting a little bit stressed out. And because of that, it makes me a little hesitant to be able to jump in and say, hey, I'm just going to end up buying just because the market is going up. I will have to be able to look for a retracement first. And if we end up getting that retracement, then I'd be interested in being able to make a move off of this. But currently, right now, as it's constructed, the market has to fall for me to be even remotely interested in being able to take a position off of this one. Now, what we end up saying was this, and I think I said this yesterday. We end up making money off of the market pushing up to 13,940. That was last week. Currently, right now, the market's in another consolidation box, and it broke out of the consolidation box, but it has not ever retested that overall box as of yet. When we take a look at it off of a 2 hour, you can see that the market clearly had a resistance that 14,650 broke out of that resistance, and then from there, the market has not technically retested yet to start being able to push back up. My thought yesterday was that if this market does break down and retest at 14,650, and we can be able to get a solid buy-in right here at this level, as long as people start to be able to buy in this area, then I'd be interested in being able to buy it up to 15,150, which is basically the resistance um, that we end up seeing a little bit earlier based off of where's it at? The resistance based off of these three levels that end up happening in early 2021 and portions of 2022, where it ended up getting rejected. So um, I do I do expect that the market's going to end up pushing back up towards this level um, right here. I'm going to put an arrow on it as it end up doing right here, right there, and right there. I do expect that it's going to get back up towards those levels, or get back up to this level, and then after that, be able to make a decision on what's going to end up happening. Ultimately, what do I personally think is going to happen? I think it'll get up to this level, and then after that, I think it'll ultimately start to be able to fall again. I don't think that we're ready to be able to make the move to be able to push back up, at least not yet, or at least break new highs, unless there's something in this interest rate decision that's going to end up being very important for us. So, like I said a little bit earlier, on most of the trades that I'm looking at today, this is going to be a step back and kind of wait to see how the news is going to end up playing itself out. I typically do a 15-minute rule. What I mean by 15-minute rule is I look at, we'll see what's happening with the news, wait 15 minutes to be able to see how the news is kind of portraying itself and kind of playing itself out. After that 15-minute candle is over with, if it aligns with what I thought the move was going to end up being, then I take a trade or try to look at being able to take a trade. If it's not there, then I don't take a trade. It is what it is from there. Okay, so um, there that is. Um, let's see, we got through most of them pretty quickly. This is the time where I end up basically opening up the floor to y'all. If there's a pair that y'all would like to be able to take a look at, we'll go ahead and jump in to it and being able to go from there. But the only open pair that I ended up having yesterday, well, closed now, was US 30. End up making money off of that one. So um, if there's a pair that y'all would like to be able to talk about, place it inside of the chat. If not, then we'll go ahead and get everything else situated. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar CAD finally end up closing out of those positions. Thank you. It took a while for that to be able to happen. My automated system finally ended up finishing out on the trade. It ended up taking about 4 days to be able to move forward with, but finally that is done and over with. Um, let's see. Don't see anything in the chat. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna end up going back live again right before the interest rate decisions. We'll go ahead and close it out today, or close it out for right now, and then after that, resume back when we get back here at 2 o'clock to be able to see what's happening with the news and kind of preview it and obviously be ready for the move. But what I think, just a quick review, what I think is going to end up happening is this: NAS 100. I think it's going to end up retracing. I think it'll retrace back to at least 14,650. And then after that, we'll have an opportunity to see what's going to happen. The reason why I feel that way is because had consolidation, the market end up breaking out, but never retested. I think it will retest. Then after that, we can look at being able to get into a buy trade if the market's going to stay in that direction, uh, with your stop loss being below probably this overall swing low, this volume, and then after that, targeting up here to 15,150. I like what I probably end up saying off of that, but I got to see what this U-turn is going to look like first before being able to make that move. But it will be below point of control. Some people can make it a little bit tighter, right around 14,550 as a stop loss. I'm probably going to go a little bit lower depending on how the market kind of moves from there. That was NAS 100, US 30. US 30. We had a trade in yesterday, took out profits off of that one. It's basically at our starting point off of this one. I do expect I'm gonna wait on that one. Gold is not in a good tradable position. Um, United States dollar index is not in a great position, at least not yet. Um, Oil, we haven't been trading all that much. Obviously, we'll take a look at Euro, United States dollar, and the other pairs and everything else like that a little bit later on. Like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. Appreciate each and every person that ends up watching this live. Um, and then after that, obviously, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. Everyone, I hope y'all end up having a good trading day as we end up going from here. Um, but if there's no questions or anything else like that, we go ahead and close out. And then after that, we get ready for a little bit later on today.